What up guys? Today I wanted to talk to you about how to get good on your skateboard no matter what. We're gonna talk today about muscle memory, what it is, how it applies to skateboarding, how this is gonna help you. This is very, very, very important to understand. This is vital information for you in your skateboarding journey. Okay, so sit down and buckle up, let's go. Muscle memory is your muscle's ability to basically learn a movement and repeat that movement no matter what. And you're gonna be able to do that movement without thinking, without having to go, oh, how was I doing that again? No, it's just like clockwork, it's just going to happen. That is muscle memory. So how does this relate to skateboarding, you ask? Good question. So all skateboard tricks, literally every single skateboard trick is just a little bit of practice and muscle memory. So I developed this system called Skateboarding Made Simple, where essentially you take the movement, the actual motion. I'm gonna wait for that plane to go overhead. Okay, so every single skateboard trick I've broken down into an actual movement or series of movements that you would do. Sometimes this is tricky because when you have a skateboard trick that's very complex, you're popping the tail, you're moving the front foot, and the board is doing a spin, you're catching it a certain direction. You can't really break that down into just easily practiced steps, but you can do your best to go well, this sort of relates to it, right? I know there's some controversy lately of the ollie is a big one. Oh, you don't drag your foot when you ollie? Well, if you very clearly watch an ollie in slow motion, the foot does a very specific thing. Is it exactly like standing still and dragging up your foot? No, it's not. Because nothing is gonna be exactly like an ollie except for just a full-blown ollie. But it doesn't do much help for me to just be able to tell you, okay, pop your board, drag your foot up, and do an ollie. That's not helpful at all. But to practice the actual motion, the repetition of the muscle memory over and over and over and over again is very, very helpful because you're literally baking that muscle memory into your leg. So a professional tennis player, for example, would go out to the courts and they would practice their forward swing, their back swing. I'm not a tennis player, I don't even know if it's called a backswing, but they would practice hitting that ball in a very specific way a ton of different times. Bruce Lee has this famous quote that goes something like, I don't fear the man that's practiced 2,000 kicks. I fear the man that has practiced one kick 2,000 times. This is muscle memory. If you guys are trying to learn how to kickflip, you can sit down and you can have your foot on your board and you can drag it up and you can do the kickflip motion 1,000 different times. Put on Dancing with Wolves, it's a 3-hour movie and you can just drag that foot as many times. And by the end of that movie, your leg is gonna go okay, even if you don't know how to kickflip, I know how to kickflip. And you can get to this point where you can literally pop, flick the board and make it spin underneath you. And just because your muscle memory is so good that it's just there, it's just ready to do that trick. And yes, I highly recommend doing that. So the Skateboarding Made Simple system breaks down every single trick like that. Not only that, but it puts the tricks in the correct order. A lot of people ask me, Aaron, is skateboarding very dangerous? And the answer to that is, well, it depends. It depends on how you learn. If you learn with the correct tricks in the correct sequence, it's not dangerous at all. If you grab a skateboard and you go to a skate park and you try to drop it on the biggest ramp, you are 100% going to get hurt, probably gonna break a bone, and in that scenario, it is very, very dangerous. But as a beginner, you should wear a helmet, knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards. You should be fully padded up for every scenario. Then you should practice and literally learn how to fall. And then you should do the tricks in the correct order, which means just standing on your board, getting comfortable, riding, and getting fully comfortable riding before you do anything else. And then we have the steps broken down very distinctly, very nice, and it takes you up to a very good place. And then when you're ready for it, you're then ready to just drop in on that board and drop in on that ramp, and you can do it. And it's easy, and you'll get there. But you do have to get there. Almost every time I see somebody on the street, they say, oh, I used to skate. And I say, well, what happened? Well, I went to a skate park, I fell down, I broke my wrist, and that was the end of it for me. Or I broke my arm, or I broke my leg. It's always, I broke something, or I sprained something, or I fell and I got hurt. But if you were to learn in the correct sequence with the correct muscle memory, you wouldn't fall, you wouldn't get hurt, you would keep progressing. Well, I shouldn't say you won't fall. Skateboarding, you are gonna fall. The absolute best skateboarders, they are falling, but they also know how to fall and they're prepared for that, and they know when they're getting themselves into a tricky situation. It's interesting because I've had some major injuries. Last year I broke my foot. It's always on something that I'm really not expecting. If I'm doing something that's quite dangerous, I'm mentally preparing myself for it, I'm physically preparing myself for it, and I rarely in those scenarios get hurt. But when I'm doing something that I've done a million times, when I broke my foot, I was doing kickflip, nose manual, nollie flip out. I've done that a million times. And it just happened to be a little rainy and I slipped and boom, completely unexpected, right? But skateboarding is not some dangerous, crazy dangerous thing, but you have to know what you're doing and you have to understand muscle memory. It's very, very important. Okay, so with that being said, one thing where skateboarding and muscle memory can be really, really difficult is if you're a beginner and you think you know the rotation, you think this is the most common one. I'm gonna pop the board up, I'm gonna kick my front foot down, the board's gonna spin. I think I'm doing a kickflip, but trust me when I tell you, you're not. You're literally practicing your way out of ever landing that kickflip. Because you pop the board up, you push your front foot down, and your front foot hits the ground before your board. This guarantees that you're not gonna land that kickflip. Because in order to land the kickflip, your front foot has to be above that board. Okay, great. Well, now that we know that, why don't we design a practice step that works? So you can pop it, flick it, spin the board, and land with your front foot on top. Well, that's exactly what I've done with Skateboarding Made Simple. There's literally a practice step where you do that. Pop the board, flick it, and keep your front foot above it. Another one that's very common is your back foot. A lot of people push their back foot down almost like their whole leg, and they feel like they're jumping off of the ground, which is an interesting idea in itself. You're not putting your foot on the ground and then jumping. You're literally jumping from the skateboard, and then your back foot with your ankle is basically hitting that tail, and it's almost like you're dribbling a basketball like that, in the air. Your foot is in the air, your back foot leaves that board before the board hits the ground, and your ankle going like that is what hits the tail to the ground. So your back foot leaves the tail and swipes down, then your tail hits that ground, then it rises up into the air. You can watch any of the super slow motion ollie tutorials that I've made, and you will see that happening very clearly. But you have to see it in super slow motion for you to really understand it. Okay, but if you were to practice that incorrectly, you might spend every day for 6 months practicing that trick incorrectly, and then you get a skateboard lesson, you go, oh, I'm just really frustrated with this. And then I come give you a skateboard lesson or somebody else, and they go, oh, well, you need to fix this on your foot. And you're like, wow, I've been practicing this for every day for 6 months. I really have it drilled in. It's really extra hard now. It's easier to learn from scratch and way harder because you have to do what Yoda says in Star Wars. You must unlearn what you have learned, and that is difficult. So now you have to take all of those motions that you've done for over 6 months, and you have to somehow get it out of your head, get it out of your muscle memory, and fully unlearn that, and then learn it again correctly. It's way better to just learn it correctly the first time. You definitely want to do that. It's way better for you, and it'll cause you way less heartbreak. Okay, another thing that I want to point out on the muscle memory and the Skateboarding Made Simple system is that you are progressing from the bottom and you're going up one trick at a time. If you go, oh, I just started, I want to learn how to kickflip, now you've gotten yourself into a little bit of hot water, and you might be able to kickflip. You'll get there eventually if you just keep trying those practice steps, even if you knew all of those practice steps. But trust me, you're gonna get there faster if you do all of the tricks leading up to kickflip. Ollie, front side 180, back side 180, pop shove, front shove, heel flip if you want to, I would say that one's optional, then kick flip. All of those tricks are easier than the kick flip, and all of them are building up your muscle memory. They're building up your ability to control the board. I'm gonna wait for this car to drive by. They're really jamming, come on. Okay, so that's why the muscle memory is very important. You must practice and you must move your foot correctly. If you're learning incorrectly, it's gonna be way harder for you to unlearn, come back at it, and do it again. So this system does make skateboarding very simple, it makes it very easy, and it also sets up a system where you can always progress. Because let's say you go out and you're like, today I want to learn how to kickflip. Well, a kickflip is probably not going to be learned in one day, and you're going to then take a loss and be like, wow, this is really hard, maybe I'm not able to learn how to kickflip, and maybe skateboarding's not for me. Completely false. Skateboarding is for you. You can learn how to kickflip, but you're not gonna learn it in one day. Rome was not built in one day. You must keep persisting, you must keep trying. So if you learn all the tricks up to kickflip and even the earlier than ollie tricks and you get those really dialed in, by the time you get to kickflip, you're ready for it, you can hit that, and maybe then in that scenario, you could learn it in a day, but you've done all those earlier steps. I've seen people at the skate park and I go, how long have you been trying to kickflip? They go 6 months. I've even heard as long as a year. And I know if you do this exact system and you do all of those tricks in that sequence, you will get there fast and you will be able to master all of the basics and you'll have a really good foundation for your skateboarding and you'll push it from there. If all the people that started skateboarding in 2020 were still skateboarding today, the skateboard scene and the skateboard world would be completely different. So now we just got to get all of those people to come back in and work on all of the basics, get down all the fundamentals, really learn in the proper way and get down all of those tricks that they missed, that they skipped over. And anybody at any age can do this. You just need to wear a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads, wrist guards, etc., and you need to get out there. All different people from all different backgrounds, all shapes, all sizes, all ages, you can learn how to skateboard. This system makes it simple and easy and fun, and you can do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm on a huge push to push skateboarding all over the world and grow the skateboard community as a positive place where we can all learn and push ourselves. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment below, and you, yes you, learn to ride a skateboard. We got everything you need at brailleskateboarding.com.